my submission is, moving forward, I feel like, and if I can also borrow back, the Democrats in America lost it because they were idealistic, and they discounted what the people were telling them. Right now, the people are saying that they are in pain. The people are not saying that we want Jesus or this Messiah guy that some of us are looking for. They are in pain. Shift is not working. The education is not working. The doctors are going to strike next week. The lecturers are striking. They need all these things. People like Milton can organize them in a very dramatic and graphical way and present them. But how is he supposed to present them in a way that will bring impact? Yeah, so I think I'll leave it there.
Thank you for your submission. Ruingi, you want to say something? Yeah.
Okay, it's me next. Okay, thank you. I want to agree with most of the speakers, but I will begin by some point of order before my submission. I know you gave me a minute. I'll try. One thing Redemptor said about the movement needing a name, and she suggested something like Mkenya Nini? Mkenya...
Maskini Jeuri.
Maskini Jeuri. But anyway, the movement already has a name. You ask Fabish, he will tell you that we are in the process of actually registering the June 25th movement, and which we hope at the opportune moment to transition to the Kenya People's Revolutionary Movement. Number two, Raila. I want to go to Raila and Ruto and what they are planning. We have information, I think some of you have seen it, that Raila is losing AUC. Just yesterday or the day before, Ruto went to Addis Ababa, did not find any president. There were only ministers of foreign ministers, and he left Raila to his own devices. So currently, Raila has floated. I don't know if it is in the public domain or people have seen it. There is a proposal for an additional 7 members to be appointed from ODM when Raila comes back from Addis. Immediately he fails because he is not getting AUC. This I can say categorically. Therefore, the government will be divided between Ruto and Raila. So what's going to happen is that all people who had been nominated by Gachagua are going to be kicked out of government. You can take that to bank. Now, it is good that these have gone together. Raila, Ruto, and the company, they are the scum of the earth in Kenyan politics. They are in there for the money. They have never been interested with leading Kenya. Raila always wants to lose so that he can ask for money and have no responsibility. I'll leave that at that. I know it will be challenged, but that is my own thinking and my own experience. Number two, the Adani case. Somebody asked here, and I think Anthony will answer, why, I think it was Redemptor again, saying that why were they not there before in the earlier cases? Anybody who is working for the interest of movement is a positive. We cannot question Gashoka and Anthony for filing the case. That is what is giving us now a motivation on what to target for 11/11. So me, I'm in support of what Gashoka and Anthony are doing. Number three, I want to go to the issue of the movement. I have mentioned that. Now, solutions now. We need commissions of inquiry that we were promised. Nikiweka Biblia chini, nitafanya state capture report. Short of that, we should declare the movement, the People's Popular Revolution, to be on. On 11/11, we are giving 11 days notice. By the 22nd, if such commission have not been formed, IEBC back in office, and many other irreducible minimums, 11 to 13 irreducible movements, which we are going to issue tomorrow at the Milimani court when we get a chance. Number three, now solution. Number 5. The commissions that we need Kenya to implement to solve the Kenyan problem is first historical injustices, beginning with Mau Mau that were short-charged by Kenyatta and they did not get their land. There is a Wako Commission, Dungu Land Report, tribal clashes reports, 3 of them, 92, 97, 92, 207. We have never come to terms with them. State capture report, we were promised, I mentioned it. Stolen election, 207, 2017, 2022. We need a commission of inquiry so that we do not repeat 92, 97. Somebody mentioned here that Ruto, Moi was able to squeeze, by the division of the opposition, he was able to squeeze 2 fresh terms, 92 and 97. And to correct somebody, Moi never lost. Moi did not run. Moi did not run in 2002. He fronted Uhuru. So Moi never lost an election. Take that to the bank, it is the truth. Goldenberg Commission, Anglo-Leasing, Truth and Justice Reconciliation Commission, all those reports need to be implemented and Kenya will heal. And finally, because of shortage of time, there's something here I want to read for you. Why some people in these spaces are asking, why are we talking, only talking? But if we do not talk now, when Aoko has been abducted, if we do not talk when the other gentleman who stayed for 31 days with a single meal a day and a lot of mistreatment, if we don't talk for them, then there'll be nobody to talk for us when they come for us. So I need you a little submission here that was done by, I can't find it, but anyway.
Can you put it on the chat, Ruingi? Meanwhile, we'll get back to you.
I've not been able to type it, but it's going
we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you.
No, let me just mention briefly, please. First, this was written by Martin Niemla. He lived 1892 to 1984, over 100 and something years. First, they came for the communists. I did not speak out because I'm not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I didn't speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one to speak, left to speak for me. That is the fate we will meet if we don't speak for the Aokos, for the people who are supporting the Adani case. We have to have collective responsibility. And the movement is on. 11/11, the movement is being launched, and that is what we're going to do it. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you for your submission. Fabius, before I give you an opportunity, I will leave Redemptor to pose a question for Anthony, and then Dr. Milton, you can chime in anytime, and then we get back to Fabius and Jeffy after that. Redemptor, please pose your questions as Anthony reflects on that. We will bring Fabius and Jeffrey for a minute. Thank you.
Asante sana. Anthony, today you behaved like a politician. You came and said, I'm in a hurry. I'm going for another meeting. So thank you for coming back because it's good to speak to somebody who is in the room. And I asked a question because Dr. Milton had posed a question of just mentioned in passing, and he did a good job of the highlights of the week and the things that are upsetting him. And they're upsetting us enough to want change tomorrow. And he mentioned that Makauri had joined ODM, just an observation. And so I asked, what is the difference between Makauri and Anthony, who has a good track record of being a revolutionary since June, but all of a sudden has aligned, and you've come and said it's an unpopular submission that sometimes you have to even pick your enemy. And my question was, when the young people went to the streets, they knew that we would do this. They knew we would go back to our ethnic formations, will go back to our political, and so they were leaderless, they were partyless, they were tribeless, and the rest. But now we are back to saying, if Kambas unite with Kikuyus, then we push for Kalonzo, this is going to happen. And to shortchanging people who paid the ultimate price to get out of this. Sorry, I've overstayed. And my last question is, the borrower becomes a slave to the lender. The problem, one of the problems of the revolution is funding. So if now we are going to have these people as the only people with money, and we're also going to now compromise and pick the lesser evil once again.
Thank you, Wanjiro, for Redemptor for posing the question. I'll as Anthony reflects and gets back to us, I'll give Fabius 1 minute and Jeffy 1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you so much. First, I think even I have a response for Redemptor, and I want to tell him that about 1111, it does not have anything to do with Kalonzo Musyoka or any politician. We spoke this as Kenyans in different spaces for a very long time, and we are mobilizing by ourselves. Our mobilization does not have any connection to do with Kalonzo Musyoka. And as Rurigi Wanjeya has put, we have a raft of issues that we are going to present tomorrow, including the 11 irreducible minimums that we would want the government to do within 11 days. So this 1111, it is still part of the movement action plan, whether there was Adani or no. But we later decide that the Milimani court, since there is a Adani case, is going to play a very center stage for us to be able to present those our issues, because definitely Milimani court is going to receive a highlight based on the events that will be happening. But of course, even as we put that, even 1111 is not only about Milimani. Some people are going to occupy different government offices at Uko Mashinani and even to Safaricom offices, because we want to tell them that we are not happy. We are disgruntled on what they are doing to Kenyans. They are aiding the killings and abductions. So it is not about Kalonzo Musyoka, and there is no one that is going to take credit on anyone. This is a movement of people of Kenya, of Gen Zote movement, ambao wanakuja. We are starting 1111. Revolution is about building momentum. So we said 1111 will be the beginning of that momentum. And as going forward, we are going, of course, to imply a different mechanism. And we need those collective voices, like Wanjiro, when she talk about civil disobedience and not paying taxes to the government. That is one of the mechanisms that you already discussed. Because, and I just want to tell you that as you are saying that Okiom Tata has tabled it, but there is no structure. There is no structure for disobedience, Wanjiro. That's what I want to tell you. There is no structure. What happened is the structure that we gave our mandate to this regime, and they failed to do it. So when we are going for that disobedience, there is no structure. Structure is only to disobey and have those civil disobedience among other mechanisms that you are going to put pressure. Because we have discussed many things and we say there is no loyalty anymore. There is no loyalty to your oppressor. You cannot play loyal to someone who is ready to kill you, who is ready to, make sure that you are extinct. He killed you by denying you medical. He killed you by denying you food. He killed you physically with a gun and the bullet that you buy. So we say that it has to be radical movement. And yes, Redemptor, you are asking about the name. Yes, we are now going to be radical. And of course, we need those collective voices as you are going, but you have to be radical. The name, like Rurigi has suggested, we had suggested earlier about June 26 movement. And yes, we are going also maybe later to become, the popular movement, patriotic front, because this regime cannot be won in a constitutional contest because they don't believe in that constitution. And of course, we have that chapter 1, that power belongs to the people. And now there is no any other way to take. When the power belongs to the people, you cannot emphasize more than that. We just need to go and take and grab that power back, and then now we can decide. Yes, and for like how you ask Anthony, or maybe also I like to just 30 seconds to add on that, is that all of us, we are Kenyans. And anyone that is against the regime, we cannot say that we just go and be sidelining everybody. But of course, we are not playing now the politics of personalities. Anyone that is joining the movement is joining the movement to be part of the movement, but not to lead the movement. So that should be understood. Anyone that is against the regime, he can join the movement to give effort to the movement, but not to be on the forefront, because even those people, they are Kenyans. In as much as you want to condemn them, but as long as they are disgruntled about the regime, they can join the movement, but not to lead the movement. After we remove the regime, then now we can decide who are the people to be the leaders. Thank you.
Thank you. We got your submission. I think your trajectory. Can you please mute your mic? I think your trajectory seems like an inject party sort of, but I will get back to you on that. That means your the direction you are taking with the movement is also like forming a people front movement or something. But anyway, having said that, Dr. Milton, do you want to chime in, or I give a few speakers the mic and then we can go?
You can give like two people. I get out of where I am briefly, then I can be able to respond to a few issues I've had come up. So maybe after two speakers.
Jeffy and E-Town, do you want to take the mic for 1 minute and then we go to Anthony?
Yes, hi. I'm not sure of whether or not I am audible. Am I?
Loud, clear.
Thank you. I want to kind of second what Fabish is saying. And when we talk about 11/11, come on, we are on the 10th of November today. So we are talking about tomorrow. And my question would be, how many of us are ready for that tomorrow? It's just a few, hours away. So, and for me, the idea of us presenting ourselves there in person, in our numbers, would be a way to tell the government, of course, when we talk about the government, we're talking about the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive, because they have treated public participation as a knot. They said an act of parliament cannot be annulled by public participation because public participation, as is in the constitution currently as constituted, doesn't have a legal framework. And I'm simply saying, echoing back to Fabish, our numbers would mean something. So when you talk about 11/11, let's go there. Let it count. Hatuwezi kuwa tunatuma my email hapa na hazifanyi kazi yote. So for me, I think place yenye tumefika, we didn't choose to be here. That's number one. But we are all Kenyans. We have right to this country. We can't leave it and relegate it to simply a few dogs to run this country on behalf of the 54 millions of us whose voices cannot count. So my parting shot would be tupatane kesho. Milimani, High Courts. The case is supposed to start at around 11. Let's be there at 9. I will be there. I've marshaled my count and camp around myself. I wish everybody could do that. We are not going for violence. That's not how it is supposed to happen. But let's go there. Let's represent the people of Kenya. Otherwise, if we lose this Adani case tomorrow, men will find ourselves in a shithole from which I don't know if we could get out of. That's my submission.
Thank you. Anthony, over to you.
Thank you, Abdi. Thank you, Hilary. Thank you, Redemptor, for the wonderful question you've asked me. Now, the fight we are fighting today is not a fight for any particular age demographic. It's not a fight for any particular grouping. It's a fight for the soul of this nation. And we cannot afford as a people to say that the people who began the fight are the only ones who shall finish the fight. One of the questions that came to the fore as the movement was going forward was, is it the time to rename it from Gen Z to Gen Zote? Because at some point, I think, even the young people of this country, and we give them their roses, we give them their accolades, because they started and they showed people that it can be done. But going forward, they realized that we need other people. We need voices and reasoning that is beyond our age. And that's the reason I have never been afraid to say that. Yes, I do talk to Kalonzo Musyoka. I do talk to Ndegwa Njiro. I do talk to Senior Council Kibe Muigai. Am I a member of WIPA? No. But Kalonzo and I are fighting the same fight. So on that ground alone, I put Kalonzo and me on one side. And I'll come back and tell you guys one thing. When the deputy president's case started, Kibe Muigai and Ndegwa Njiro were representing the deputy president. On the same day, we had a judge seated in court waiting to hear our case. We called Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa that day, and they appeared in court the same day. What if I was of the opinion that I cannot work with them? Today, as we speak, the Adani case, our case with Gashoka would have been suspended. The question of whether our case and the LSK case are the same, they are not the same. But on most issues, there are similarities. And that is why we requested the Chief Justice to empanel a 3-bench judge to hear our cases. But tomorrow we are also making another request. LSK is saying, can we be joined to the Tony Gashoka case? And how does this help? It means the legal team that we have, which is Ndegwa Njiro, Kibe Muigai, now will get to work with the LSK lawyers and the KAA lawyers. Have we become a bigger team? Yes, we have. Have we enriched our legal team? Yes, we have. Because now all these legal giants will sit together to fight for JKIA. To everyone, to Redemptor and to everyone, June 25th happened. And we give the young people of this country all their accolades. I say this because I'm heading to 40 years myself. But going forward, we cannot stagnate on June 25th. This fight we are fighting is like a river. It is mutating and it is changing. If we do not, as the people fighting Ruto, also mutate and change and adapt and form alliances at the speed at which William Ruto is forming alliances, then we shall be telling William Ruto, who's not choosing who to work with. Today, ODM took Kasmuel Makaure. So them, they are not picky, but we want to say we shall be picky. From where I sit, I will work with Fabish. I will work with you, Redemptor. I will work with Kalonzo Musyoka. I will work with Eugene Wamalwa. I will work with Jeremiah Kioni. And I dare say, I will even work with the deputy president who was just impeached, Rigathi Gachagua. Why? Because he controls a constituency. Kalonzo controls a constituency, and we cannot be of the wishful thinking that we shall wake up in 1 year and undo what Kalonzo has built for 4 decades. We can only take it slowly from him because he's also holding on to it. But do we have a moment to work together as a people? Yes, we do. And as I land, I'll tell you this. Power can be captured through the revolution, as we say. But even if we are capturing it through the revolution, as people would want to say, we will still need alliances going forward. Because on that table of that revolutions, people will still come with different ideologies. So we might differ on ideologies on the way to Jerusalem. Some people will say, let us go to the east. Others will say, let us go to the west. But all those roads go to Jerusalem. So for now, you will forgive me, but I do not have the luxury to pick and choose who will fight Ruto. I only have the faith that all of us fighting Ruto are fighting for the same cause. And we are fighting so that people can go to hospitals and get treated. We are fighting for that woman who sells vegetables in your local circle, who sells vegetables on the road, who was blessed by God to have a child who scored an A and now has to go and do medicine. But because of the system that Ruto has come up with for universities, now that dream has to be deferred. I'm fighting for that woman. And in my fight for that woman, I'll not pick my soldiers. Any soldier who will pick up his sword, his shield, and say we are marching forward, I will tell them, let us march forward together. Because the enemy we face is bigger than all of us. And once we get to our Damascus moment, then we shall sit down there and say, we have slayed the lion. We have slayed our enemy. Now, how do we take this country forward? People are saying we revert back to NHIF. Do we all agree we were fighting to revert back to NHIF? Yes, we do. So let us revert back to NHIF. We are all fighting so that every child who scores an A does not have to go and be banded in a banding system that even them who are the intellectuals don't understand. The government itself does not understand. We are fighting so that the funding model for students can go back to HELB. HELB did not have a problem. It only needed a little bit of tweaking. That is the fight I am fighting. I am fighting for a country whereby people will come and say, this JKIA was our heritage. It was built by our forefathers. It was taken over by Kenyatta. He grew it. Moi grew it. Uhuru Kenyatta grew it. It will not be you, William Ruto, to sell it. That is the fight I am fighting. But a fight amongst us, I'm not interested in that fight. We are all humans and we shall forever have differences of opinions. But in our differences of opinion, we must agree that our common enemy is greater than the small differences we have. Kalonzo did not make a mistake because he worked with Moi. Neither did Uhuru Kenyatta make a mistake because he was born by Kenyatta. Neither did Gachagua make a mistake because he worked with Ruto. Everyone has a God-given right to redeem themselves. If Kalonzo has seen he's seen he needs to redeem himself and fight for this country, I am with him. If you Redemptor feel you have seen your Damascus moment and you feel you are willing to fight for this country, I am with you. Because we've all voted for Kalonzo, for Raila, and for Ruto. At one time in our life, we've all voted for them. But now we all agree they do not represent our interests. Can we fight the common fight? And I'll finish by saying, there's a gentleman here who said, structures will always win. A fool with a plan will always beat a genius who does not have a plan. It is the high time we start working together and picking our fights. Right now, the fight is for JKIA. And if we manage to win that one fight, Kenyans will wake up and see that behind this shield called Ruto, it can be dented. Because this will be the one fight we win. He has a dent. So that he will think twice before returning the Finance Bill 2024. But we need to give Kenyans that glimmer of hope that Ruto is defeatable. There seems to be a thinking that Ruto cannot be defeated. He is defeatable. There seems to be a thinking Ruto does not fear. He has fear within him. And we shall overcome. We've structured a case and I've taken time to go through that document. And I can share it with everyone. You can add to it to make it a better case. That is how we shall win, by forming teams to work together. But if by the time this person, Karua, comes, and I've spoken to Mother Karua, I'll be very honest. If by the time Karua comes, we say, no, Karua, you used to work with Raila. If she's no longer working with Raila now, I don't have a problem with that. She's saying, I'm willing to work with you. If you're willing to work with me, Mother Karua, then let us move forward. But Anthony Mureithi does not belong to Mother Karua. I do not belong to Eugene Wamalwa. I do not belong to Jeremiah Kioni. Neither do I belong to Kalonzo Musyoka. I am a Kenyan first before I'm in any of those political parties. Just because I talk to all of them does not mean I'm registered to them. I talk to them because they help me fight a fight I cannot fight alone. That is my submission to you. And if my crime is building a team, in my 39 years of age, if my singular crime is building a team to fight for an airport, then I'm guilty of that crime. With every count, it counts. But if in that moment of my naivety or my geniusness, whichever will go, I do manage to win, then I'll be very happy. But I urge all Kenyans right now to join me in that fight, to show up, because together we can. Divided we shall not win. That is the only way we shall win this fight.